Hiya, my name is Tim and I'm the Palliative and Supportive Care Education Manager here at Kennington Council WA. And before I start today's episode of Keeping Up with the Pace, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land, the Whadjuk people from the Noongar Nation, and recognise their connection to the land, waters and community. I also pay my respect to their elders and extend that respect to all Aboriginal people living and working in this area, and from whatever area you are joining us from today. Let's start the show. This week I'm joined by two members from Palliative Care WA, Sabena Lund and Julia Kennington, and they're going to be talking to us today about National Advanced Care Planning Week, which runs from the 17th of March until the 23rd of March and encourages all of us to document our medical wishes to ensure that we get treatment that aligns with our values in the future. So thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Tim. Really great to be here.
Nice to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. So Sabena, what is advanced care planning and why is it important?
So advanced care planning is thinking about what are my health, my lifestyle, my financial wishes for the last stage of life, and ideally having a think about that, having some conversations about it, putting those wishes in writing, and then sharing those wishes. And this is something that ideally we suggest anyone think about once they're over the age of 18, because up to half of us, or I actually think even more at the last stage of our lives, won't be able to make or communicate our wishes. And unless we've made those wishes known, then we're not going to get the care that we want. And it might be, for example, that what we see is that our care might be prolonged and we might have unwanted hospitalizations or treatments that are intrusive and uncomfortable. But that's the job of clinicians. That's the job of medicine, unless we say otherwise. So thinking about what's important to us, having conversations about it and putting that in writing is really important. So what we suggest to people is that they can, as I said, have conversations, and that stands alone as being valuable. And there's also a range of documents that people can complete. There's things like people know about the will, which is what do you want to do with your money after you die. But what's also important is, well, what happens up to the point of death? So, for example, in your enduring power of attorney can be the person or the people who speak for you around financial matters and assets if you can no longer speak for yourself. There's the enduring power of guardianship, and that's the person or the people who make decisions around health, lifestyle, and medical treatment if you can no longer make or communicate your own wishes. And then we have the Advanced Health Directive, which is a heavily legal document that identifies, firstly, what values and preferences you have for your care at the last stage of life, and importantly, what are your wishes around medical treatments, life-sustaining treatments in particular, but medical treatments in that last stage of life if you're not able to make or communicate your wishes.
So Sabena, you run a number of workshops across the metropolitan and regional areas. And when you are completing these documents with people or educating them so that they can complete them on their own behalf, what do they do with these documents? Where are they stored? How are they accessed?
Yeah, that's a really important question, really important thing to keep in mind. And we suggest that people share these documents in a whole range of ways. So certainly they can store them directly, they can upload them directly onto My Health Record, and that's kind of one of the best ways, because that way clinicians can access it from wherever they are, but also to make sure that anyone in your key network has a copy. If you're anyone who's a carer or if you're getting care somewhere, some people like to keep a copy of their Advanced Health Directive on their fridge or with their medication, because they're the places that paramedics will check if they come to the house. Some people give a copy to their GP who keeps it on their records. So there's a range of different ways. Some people put it on their medical bracelet or have a wallet card. So there's a range of ways people can store it, with My Health Record being really one of the most important ways. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Julia, what do you think are some of the barriers to people completing these documents and how can they be mitigated?
So there's a few different barriers. One of the key things is simply misconceptions about advanced care planning and what that entails. A lot of people think that that's for somebody who's older and it wouldn't apply to me. It could be fear that is the major barrier. Some people think that if I do these documents, then that's going to be somehow signing off and meaning that people are going to pull the plug at the first available opportunity. But for most people, it's a lack of knowledge and understanding of what advanced care planning is and how advanced care planning can actually serve them and how it can support them in the last part of their lives. So for us, the best way that we can support our community members is providing those workshops that Sabena runs so well on advanced care planning education, and then supporting people to actually complete their documentation. So it may be with the workshops that we run to actually help people with a page by page breakdown of the Advanced Health Directive, and that seems to make things easier for people. But some people actually need one-to-one support to actually get their documentation completed. And so we do run a one-to-one support service through Palliative Care WA, and we encourage everybody to take advantage of that if they're looking to do their documentation but struggling to get through it themselves.
And Julia, there's a very important component of any advanced care planning document, and that is capacity. How do we
Yeah,
support people that may have lost their capacity, and what is it?
So capacity, when you're talking about advanced care planning, we're really talking about people's decision-making capacity and their capacity to actually complete the legal component of an advanced care planning document. So as with your will, you must have decision-making capacity to complete your advanced care planning documents that are written into our statutory law. So that's our Advanced Health Directive, the Enduring Power of Guardianship, Enduring Power of Attorney. Really, the good thing about advanced health directives is that a person can detail what they want for their future health care when they have capacity, so that their choices are upheld at a later date when they may not have decision-making ability. So a person is deemed to have capacity until a time that occurs when they are then deemed not to. So if you are struggling, if you have got a diagnosis, then we simply suggest that you speak to your health professional that can support you in determining whether or not you have capacity to do the documentation. If you have a diagnosis and you're confirmed to have capacity, get a letter or a confirmation from your doctor so that you can attach it to your documents to support the fact that at that point in time you did have decision-making capacity. There is also another document called an advanced care plan for someone with insufficient decision-making capacity. So for someone who perhaps has lost the capacity already to make decisions, that's a document that their loved one or their carers can complete on their behalf, expressing what they believe that person would have chosen for themselves. And while that doesn't hold the same legal weight as our statutory documents, what it does do is it provides good understanding of what that person might have wanted for themselves, and it can support the decision making for a person who perhaps has already lost capacity.
So, Sabena, in a situation in which a loved one who has lost capacity and hasn't communicated their treatment wishes, how do the family respond to that once there has been a bereavement?
That's a great question, Tim. And it's one of the reasons we're so passionate about this, because this is something that not only, if a person hasn't, while they still could, through conversation and through documents identified what they want, then a few things happen, or a few things commonly happen. One is that the clinicians don't know what the person wants. They can sometimes, even in an emergency department, be calling on family to make a decision in sometimes very short time or no time at all. That can cause tremendous stress, as you can imagine, to the family. Sometimes people have different opinions. I think mum wanted this. I think mum, no, I know for sure mum wanted that. So it can cause tremendous friction at such a stressful time. It can lead to the person having their life needlessly prolonged. Sadly, that's what we see, because a family just don't have the confidence to let them go. They kind of feel like, well, I can't have that decision on my shoulders. Whereas if the person had clearly said, under this circumstance, I don't want life-sustaining treatment, well, then the decision isn't on the family, and the family can more easily let them go. So sadly, we see a lot of trauma within families. If someone hasn't been able to communicate their treatment wishes, we see people's lives prolonged needlessly. So we see a lot of really difficult things, and of course that then can lead to prolonged depression and complicated grief, a range of challenges for family, guilt. I wish this had happened, or I wish that had been different, and sadly can really fracture families. So these documents, these are real things. So I guess if I think in my own family, Mum died with advanced dementia 3 years ago. And we were fortunate that we did have conversations while we still could, and that she did have her wishes in writing, so that when it came time to make difficult decisions, and there were difficult decisions, we were enacting her wishes rather than having the burden of decision making on our shoulders. And once it got to a certain point, because we knew Mum didn't want to live with advanced dementia, we were able to say with confidence to the care home, at this point, comfort care only. No hospital visits unless needed for her comfort. No antibiotics when she stops eating and drinking. No, artificial fluids or peg eating. All that kind of, let her allow her death to be a natural one. And we were able to do that with peace of mind, knowing that's what Mum wanted. So these conversations, these documents are real. They can be used and informed, and they affect not just the person but the family left behind.
Really beautifully put there, Sabena. Late last year, my team and I went over to Leederville and we attended one of PCWA's ACP workshops, and it was fantastic. And sitting in a room full of people discussing your own mortality was challenging in some regards, but also it really put into perspective how you would want to be remembered as things do change and things do progress. So thank you for allowing me to attend that event. Now, before I say goodbye to both of you, I just want to ask, is there any upcoming events or anything that you're both involved in as part of PCWA and ACP? What have you got going on? What would you like to plug?
We'd love to speak to that. First, thank you so much for those comments, Tim. We love running workshops. So my passion are the advanced care planning workshops that are free and that are open to community members. We run them all through the year online, as well as face to face in the metropolitan area and the regions where we can. Advanced Care Planning Week, we've got 6 workshops coming up, so that'll be a big one that week. So some online and some face to face. You can simply go onto our website, Google Palliative Care WA, and our website will come up, and look at the events there, and that's where you'll see our advanced care planning workshops. We've also got a Death Lingo Bingo fundraising event that week, which is sadly already sold out, so that's super exciting. If anyone is interested, either keep an eye on the website or simply join our email list. We've got a range of events all the way through. Breakfast coming up for National Palliative Care Week. So exciting events all through the year, but certainly Advanced Care Planning Week is one of the highlights. It is so important to us to educate community around the opportunities we all have to make our wishes known. I'm still reasonably young-ish, kind of, I don't know, my grey hair might belie that, Tim. But I'm certainly healthy, but my advanced health directive is safely stored on my health record, because we just never know what lies ahead. One of the other stories I like to tell in workshops is that when I was running this very advanced care planning workshop in Bunbury, I'd gone down to the southwest to run a few workshops. I thought might as well stay there for a few days, have a bit of a holiday. A friend came down, puppy came down. And at the end of that very first workshop, I looked at my phone and it said, oh, pick us up at the vet. I thought, oh, that doesn't sound very good. I go to the vet and I hear my friends taking Pup for a walk. They've been very careful. They've come to this beautiful green park, children's playground, sitting down quietly. sees something move, goes over to say hello. Turns out it's a big long snake that strikes towards Pup, goes to strike a second time, and my friend leans towards the striking snake. It could have been anyone's last moment. It wasn't. Both were fine. But it's just that reminder, we just don't know what lies ahead. So, yeah. So anyway, I digress. That's why we run these workshops to give ourselves the opportunity to think ahead, to plan ahead. We love running them, and we'd love to have people coming. And Julia, did you want to speak to the support services that we offer as well?
Absolutely. I did allude to that earlier on in the podcast, that we do offer a advanced care planning support service, 4 elements. So we run a follow-up workshop to Sabena's education workshops, where we really go page by page through the Advanced Health Directive. Then we have in-home services. So we offer support online, over the phone, at our fixed locations around Perth, and then also in-home if you have a referral and you can't access the community. So that's our support service around advanced care planning, which we're very, very grateful to have a renewed pilot service running with support of WA Health.
Thank you both for your time.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Tim. Really appreciate it.
Bye.
Thank you to our guests for joining us today. And most importantly, thank you for listening. If you feel like you would want any more information, please head over to pace.com.au, pace.com.au, and follow us on our social media channels. We would love to interact with you. Have a good one.